Oops. All right. Oops. Hold on, wait a minute. Where'd the chat thing go? There it is. Oh. Give some time for people to get in here. Probably wait a couple of minutes or so. Yo, Sherelle Thornton, what's up? Oh, I got lower this. That's kind of super low. What's good? What's up? What's up? How you doing? What's up, Zoms? Yes, I remember you. I won't forget you. Don't worry. All right, we'll give people like 2 to 3 minutes to get in here, and then we'll kick it off. I got 3 videos. We're going to do, first up, we're going to do Mr. Nightmare Files, which is, what is this? 4 creepy true stories to keep you up at night. And I think we're going to do Mr. Nightmare's, I think it's 3 true scary walking dog stories or something like that. And then we're going to do Mr. Ballin's claustrophobic video, part 3 or 2 or something like that. But I'm going to go over it again. I'm just letting you guys know what's going to be ahead of time. I am early. What's up, Texas? I was watching 10 people who fell. People actually fell into volcanoes? What the? I didn't know that. It's 6 a.m. for me? Dang, Zoms, I appreciate you setting an alarm to get up to support us or support the Crow's Nest. I appreciate it. But people better get in here, man. People be like, oh yeah, live stream. I've been so busy this week. It's like, it's not even funny, man. Like, so busy, man. Oh man, and then I gotta do streaming, and I still have to do like exercise and all the other stuff, and schoolwork, and editing and recording. So I've been trying to make the best of it, not to leave you guys hanging and keep you guys updated and stuff. I feel bad when I'm not able to post a video, but you know, sometimes life happens, and I gotta do what I gotta do. Yo, what's good, Chaz Johnson? I have school in 2 hours. Oh, dang, Zoms. It's 9:02 a.m. for me, and I'm in school. Oh my God, you guys are in school. You guys better put your phones away or get in trouble or something. We'll start here in like 2 minutes. Oh, wait a little bit. 2 more minutes. Almost 2K. Yeah, I've seen. You guys are, it's crazy. Like, I go to work, and I was at like 1,813, and now I'm at 1,821. So, it's crazy. Just like 4 or 5 months ago, or 3 or 4 months ago, I was at 700. So it's crazy. Oh man, I'm excited for some more videos, to have some stories. I haven't live streamed in a minute, so I might be a little bit rusty. I might mess up and stumble over a couple of words, but don't be too hard on me. Oh. I'm not on my phone. I'm on my iPad. That's fair. Alright. We about to get into it. Let's get it. Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Zims, and welcome to 4 Creepy True Stories to Keep You Up at Night, featuring Mr. X Dream and the Scarecast. This video is by Nightmare Files, so if you guys haven't already, be sure you swoop down to the description box, click on that link, go watch the videos in entirety while me pausing and stopping and talking through the whole thing. Again, like I said before, thank you guys so much, man, for the recent 1,800 subscribers, man. Let's keep pushing. Let's keep going to Crow's Nest. Let's keep doing what we're doing, and the videos will keep coming, man. Yeah, but shoot, I'm ready to jump into it. Hope you guys are ready to jump into it. Right now, I got 3 videos in store for us. One by Nightmare Files, one by Mr. Ball, and one by Mr. Nightmare. And we're going to jump through those. And if we have some spare time, if you guys are doing pretty good and more people are still in here, then we might react to a 4th video. But for now, let's get it. Let's go. All right, here we go. Here we go. Let me see. Anything else we got before? Skip school. Doors bigger. Better go somewhere else. All right, let's get it. All right, I gotta eat me some. Story submitted by Tatiana Laspa. All right, whatever. I wasn't reading. Story 1.
A few years ago, me and my now ex went on a weekend away together.
Loud.
We ended up staying at the Hilton Hotel. which was nice and we had a really good time. But I'll never forget the last night we stayed there. Throughout the trip, we kept seeing the same hotel worker. I mean, he did work there, but with it being quite a large hotel with many staff, you'd think you wouldn't run into the same one over and over.
Unless he works on that floor.
But there he was. He was there when we ate. He was there when we went to use the pool.
Okay, red flag.
And every time I walked past him, he'd give me the strangest look. I remember on our last day there, I left our room to get some more ice. And guess who appeared as I was at the ice dispenser?
The dude.
You guessed it. The same guy. I thought as we were leaving in the morning anyway, I tried to ease the unnecessary tension and smile at him, and I tried to make small talk.
Oh, that
He
did
just
it.
ignored me. He stared at me. Well, glared at me, intensely watching me as I finished filling up my bucket. And as I left, I very stupidly said, well, bye then, and offered
Red
a
flag.
half wave. This visibly angered him. He actually started to grind his teeth. So I very briskly walked back to our room. Once I was back, I very casually locked our door, and I also put the chain on.
There you go.
Unnecessary, I know. Nobody without a key card can get in, but I just felt a bit creeped out by this guy. I didn't mention anything to my ex. I just wanted us to enjoy our last night as we did. Well, up until about 3 a.m. anyway.
He already messed up. I'm sorry. I know I'm stopping it right now, but he's already messed up. Don't smile at somebody that you're kind of like seeing over and over again. If you're starting to get the feeling that maybe this dude is weird or he doesn't work there, and you tell him hi and the employee doesn't say hi back, I'm pretty sure there's a high chance that he doesn't work there, and I'll probably call the desk like, hey, this dude is up here being weird, bro. If I just tell you hi and you don't say nothing to me, I'm just going to be like, all right, bet, you're freaking weird. And I would have told my girlfriend, too. Like, hey, look, hey, it's some weird dude out there trying to get my cheeks, man. We got to get out of here. And she'd have like, oh, okay. And we'd have left. So, I mean, that's just me. The first red flag was just him seeing him all the time, and the second one was him ignoring me. So, I don't know. That's what I feel. I could be wrong, but I feel like this dude is some kind of pervert. But
We're cuddling in bed, trying to sleep.
cuddling?
We both shot up when we heard what sounded like the doorknob starting to jiggle. We both looked at each other, surprised. But I assured her someone probably just had the wrong room. I was sure of that assumption until we heard that familiar beep and then the door unlocked. Someone had a key. The door slowly pushed open until it snagged on the chain, and upon realizing this, the would-be intruder swiftly closed it. We were both stunned, but I quickly snapped out of it, hoping that I could catch a glimpse of whoever it was. I ran to the peephole and peeked through it just in time to see a hotel employee briskly walking away.
No flags.
I could only see the back of them, but I knew exactly who it was. I wanted to tell the desk what had just happened, but my ex had begged me just to stay in the room with her, and that she didn't want to leave the room, so I told her to come with me.
You don't have to leave the room. Call the damn desk. Is it me, or when you go to hotels, just call from the front desk from the phone? No? I don't know. That's just me.
She didn't want to, so I just stayed in there with her. We tried to sleep, but couldn't. We checked out first thing in the morning. I did mention it as we left, and they said that they'll look into it, but I never heard anything. The Hilton is a nice hotel, and truthfully, I'd love to go back one day. Hopefully, I'll never see that creepy guy again.
Is it Hilton, like from Paris Hilton, or is this a coincidence? That might be a stupid question, but I'm like dead serious. Is that like, does Paris Hilton own it? Story 2. I mean, I could do mods, but I don't do live streams that much to have mods.
Brandon. This story takes place when my father was a child. When he was 6 years old, he used to live in Northridge, California.
Ooh, Cali, baby.
More specifically, he lived in an apartment complex. Just to give you an idea of the setting, he used to live by 2 apartment complexes. In between them, there was a small but decently sized and well-put wooden playground area where kids could play. Since my father had recently gotten a new tricycle, my grandmother told my father that he could ride his trike along the pathway that led behind the complexes into the playground.
What's up, Liam?
One more thing before
What's up,
I
Lapis?
continue. There's a decently sized alleyway in between the complexes, and you could get a good view of the playground area. While my dad was riding his tricycle, He stated that he heard a couple arguing. He quickly turned his head toward the alleyway. While my dad was figuring out what to do, silence came from the both of them as a middle-aged man yelled at them, "Get out of here, you damn kids!" As soon as he said that, the couple started sprinting towards my father. Acting quick, my father quickly rode his tricycle as fast as his little legs could carry him.
I don't know what kind of tricycle he got, but if he got away, bro, that's a miracle. He may have had some turbo or maybe some Faster and Furious type stuff under his hood. Because me personally, I don't know if you guys remember, I don't know if a big wheel count, but I had a big wheel, bro. And let me tell you, it took a couple of pedals before I even took off because for some reason it was like, and then you start slowly going faster. And you start going so fast that your little legs can't even handle it. Your little legs fly off and start scraping the ground like, do. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But I don't know, I had a big wheel, but I don't know. Let's see if he gets away. I don't think he is, but if by some miracle, if they just stop chasing him, then that's crazy.
My father stated that he vaguely heard the thundering sounds of a pair of footsteps. My father would never forget this memory. My father took a glance at who was chasing him, and this is where my father saw the most sickening image he could picture. The man chasing him was a middle-aged man with long, wiry gray hair, a crazed look in his eyes, and grotesque teeth. But that's what my father was scared of the most. He vaguely remembered the man was wielding some kind of blunt object in his hand.
The most people I've ever had in a stream was on Twitch. Somebody rated me. I had like 50, 60 viewers.
My father screamed as he peeled behind the complex and quickly rushed through his front door and locked it behind him.
Oh my goodness.
My grandmother saw everything. However, she didn't call the police.
What?
My father still doesn't know why my grandmother didn't call the cops. My father rarely brings his story up, saying that I was the third person to hear this from his end.
Oh, third.
The only reason why I'm telling this story is that there was a murder-suicide recently in Northridge, and one of the victims was one of his next-door neighbors. Police are still investigating this incident. Still don't know if it's connected.
My Twitch is Reprisal
I
Zims.
can only picture what would have happened if that man had caught up to my dad.
He probably would have. Story 3. What's gonna happen next?
I live in a not so large and not so friendly block of apartments.
You'll start swinging on the grandma? Why would she do?
Well, it's really more of a converted old Victorian house, which is now modified into 5 small apartments per block. The main door is really crappy. It still hasn't been replaced, even though the entire building has been refurbished.
I don't know, for some reason I'm thinking of the grandma like, well, baby, we not gonna call the police. And you just start swinging. Jesus.
This is the case despite the landlord promising it would be done by the new year. Anyway, this door doesn't lock when you close it. It has to be locked manually, either by the key from the outside or by the twisty lock on the inside.
Am I going to set up donations?
Unfortunately, people who live around me can be, well, let's say rude.
Probably
not. That's putting
not.
it kindly. They're always blasting music until late.
What's good, Jordan?
Setting off the fire alarm, which is linked in every apartment, and it's super loud and annoying. But most annoyingly, always, and I mean always, people are leaving the main door unlocked. This was something more than an annoyance.
How do you leave
up until
the front
very
door unlocked?
recently, when something truly horrific happened to me. It was a Thursday night, and as usual, I was getting ready for bed at around 11 p.m. And as usual, despite it being a weekday, one of the surrounding apartments is having a party. Again, it's the weekday, and this was annoying because who throws a party on a Thursday? I mean, just wait for Friday. Not only that though, it's supposed to be a lockdown. So while other people can't see their own families, me included, you get to keep everyone up. The music was noticeable, but not super loud from the comfort of my bedroom, thankfully. So I do what I always do when I go to bed.
What?
I put on some scary stories.
Oh,
I
hey.
chill, and I try to go to sleep.
Yeah, I feel you.
So I finally managed to drift off at around 12 o'clock. and I'm awakened for the first time at around 2 because of the music.
Here we go.
So I get up and I go to the bathroom, as I thought I might as well, since I'm already up.
The last time I streamed was like
so
30 days ago.
So being annoyed and frustrated, I get back into bed and continue to enjoy my stories until I'm asleep. I'm suddenly awoken by loud stumps coming up the stairs. I live at the very top of the building, so the final staircase only leads to my door.
Oh, hell no.
Now I'm more than exhausted. More exhausted than angry. So I just lie there, awake, until I hear something that jolts my half-asleep brain fully awake. My door being pushed open. Someone is actually trying to push open my door and enter my apartment without my permission.
It's okay, because now I got the permission to blow a hole right through you, my boy. Come on in. All are welcome. You get a bullet, or you get a shell, whatever I'm feeling that way. I'm like, do I want the shotgun, or do I want the assault rifle, or do I want the pistol? Nah, I might take my samurai sword. I don't know. It depends what kind of day I'm having, bro. You come through that threshold, bro, you're going to be missing an arm or some limb, bro. You getting the hole blown through you. I'm 100% for Second Amendments, bro. 100%. As soon as I get out, bro, I'm getting me a whole collection. Everywhere, bro. On the toilet. You're not about to catch me lacking. On the toilet. In the snack cabinet. If I'm asleep on the couch. In the backyard. Near the pile of leaves, bro. In the car. Back seat. In a McDonald's bag. Anywhere, bro. Kids meal. I'm putting guns everywhere, bro. If I'm in there, it's that time. I'm in the shower, bro. It's going to be right under the soap dispenser. Or whatever it is. And I'll have my shower, bro. I'm going to be ready. I'm about to be on some goddamn... some John Wick, Jason Bourne type stuff, bro. 100%. It's my life before anybody else's. You come through that door, bruh. You gonna be meeting Jesus. You gonna be meeting God. You gonna be meeting whoever it was that you went or known before you passed away, bro. You meeting everybody, bro. I'm about to sign your shirt, bro. Tell them I said what's up, and that's how we gonna do that. Mr. Grandma, stay strapped always, bro. We all have something like that. Look at the door and open slowly. Oh, bro. Now they'll probably catch me lacking because we can't have weapons. But when I get my house, bro, just know them stay strapped, boy.
Not hard or forcefully, mind you. Not like they were trying to break it, but they definitely were trying to gain entry. Now, this may be because my mind was still foggy, or that I was still so tired that I didn't care, but I just stupidly assumed that someone in a drunken stupor was trying to get into the wrong place.
I want some fruit snacks.
Maybe the party was at a different top floor apartment, I thought. So I ignored it. Even when it happened again, I could hear scratching and mumbling on the other side. Stupid, I know, but I really just wanted to go to sleep. So the next morning, I woke up as normal and got ready for work as I opened my door to leave. And what do I see? 2 men asleep on the floor, blocking my way, and one of them bleeding from his head.
Oh, dang.
Now, I'm not judgmental, or at least I try not to be, but these men were clearly homeless. I mean, the smell alone told me that. It was like having a ball of dirt slapped in your face. Not ideal for an early morning start.
Y'all got me on the fruit snacks?
When I eventually got one of them to get up, the other failed to do so. He was clearly on drugs. It was completely out of it. Thankfully for me, the man was okay. I mean, I could have been rushed or anything, but
yeah.
He explained to me that he had been attacked and chased, so they took shelter here. So I offered to call the ambulance, which the men eventually accepted through a one-sided conversation of murmurs and groans. So I stepped out to get a better look at the man on the ground. As I did so, the other man stepped inside of my apartment. I just stared at him with our eyes locking.
There it is.
He reached in his pocket and I postured up ready to fight. He looked at the other man and he just shook his head as if he were saying no. And thankfully he just came back out without incident.
See?
And I locked my door. The ambulance eventually came. I informed my landlord of this, and he said that he would warn the other people living there that they must keep the door locked. But of course, every morning I go to work, the door is wide open with no consequence. But the real kicker is, because that guy was bleeding and was homeless, I didn't want to clean it myself and had to get professional cleaners to do so. And when I asked for my landlord to chip in, he just ignored me for days.
Wow.
And when he eventually got back to me, he said it's not that big of a deal. So I ended up paying for the whole thing myself. because I just didn't feel comfortable with that being around me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't believe those men had intentions to hurt me.
Yeah, they did.
But what if I didn't lock my door? What if they had gotten in? When people are desperate and opportunities present themselves,
they take them.
You really don't know what people would do.
What's good, Break?
Me, asleep and alone, pretty scary when you think about it, right?
I don't know what he talking about, bro. Talking about something. I don't think they weren't about to hurt me. What do you think they was about to do? Let me tell you guys something, man. If you guys missed the red flag, allow me to tell you where it was. All right. Well, it's 2 red flags. First of all, they was beating on your door. If they needed help, right? Hear me out. If they needed help, why would they run all the way to the top floor? Does that make any sense? Oh my God, I need help. Like, wouldn't you go to like the first floor of the nearest house? Why'd you run to an apartment complex? Why would you run to a nearby store? Why would you run all the way up to the 3rd or 4th floor, wherever he was, just to say that you need help? Like, no, bro, they tried to break in and kill you. And then he go reach in his pocket and possibly had a knife. And the dude was like, you know what? This dude seems like a nice guy. Don't stab him. Don't kill him. Don't hurt him. Let's get out of here, bro. And that's exactly why I tell y'all, stay strapped, bro. That's the quote for this stream. Or that's the quote for the live stream so far. Stay strapped. Notice the red flags, man. Usually, I say 3. 3 is like what you're going to reach for. You got to get 3 red flags and you strike out. But sometimes you don't need 3. Sometimes 1 is enough to be like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't be here right now. Maybe they are trying to kill me. Maybe they are trying to clap my cheeks. You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm saying, stay strapped. Wheat bread. That's his name. Wheat bread. If you don't got guns, these are the next best thing. Story 4. Let's get it. So far, story 3 is the scariest.
This happened during the summer of 2019. My health was deteriorating at the time, mostly due to struggles with mental health. I was going through mental and emotional breakdowns, even having nightmares.
It was good, Ubi.
All that stress made for an extremely rough spring semester in college. I put a lot of stress on myself trying to improve my grades. I also have borderline personality disorder and depression,
freaking surreal,
which really sucks.
You gotta give me one.
My best friend was there for me throughout all my problems. I was happy he was there, but I felt bad since he had a lot on his plate at the time as well.
Feel you.
One Friday night, I was a bit more tired and stressed out than usual. I had been out looking for a job to keep myself busy during the summer. The day was full of one rejection after another, so I was feeling really down in general. I just kind of wanted the day to be over already, so I decided to go to bed early. At around 5 a.m. in the morning, I suddenly woke up.
Who's Jack Knoll?
The first thing I noticed was that I couldn't move my body at all. I was scared shitless. I tried calling for my younger brother to help, but I couldn't get a word out. Out of nowhere, in a dark corner of my room, I thought I saw something, an outline. As I stared into the black spot, I could have sworn it was a cat. Mind you, I have no pets in my home, so it was already a bit disturbing to see. As my vision became clearer, the shape I was staring at became more defined. What I saw was the shadowy form of a humanoid hand coming toward me. I was petrified. But no matter how hard I tried, no matter how desperately I wanted to, I could not scream. The dark hand floated closer and grabbed my ankle.
Hell no.
Somehow, whatever was stopping me from crying out released its grip on my lungs. I screamed like a banshee. As my voice rang out, the hand suddenly faded away. I know the scream was real because it woke my younger brother up. I went back to sleep for a few hours until my alarm went off. Around 9 a.m., my brother came into my room. I asked him if he had heard me screaming earlier, and he said he had. I apologized, feeling a bit guilty. I went to my best friend's house later on and explained what happened.
This is called 4 Creepy True Stories to Keep You Up at Night, featuring the X Dreams and the Scarecast. It's by Nightmare Files.
He told me the stress and depression was probably causing me to suffer sleep paralysis.
Oh my God,
From that day on, he always checked in on me to make sure I wasn't having any nightmares or night terrors.
Paralysis.
I don't think I'll ever forget that experience. It was my first time dealing with sleep paralysis. The situation was so scary that it took me a while before I could sleep on my own again. I still have the lingering fear that one day it might happen again. Oddly enough, a week after that experience, I suffered a heart attack, which is kind of strange for a 21-year-old woman.
21?
Though, I'm now healthy and doing much better than before.
Damn.
Anyway, I hope that whoever you are, you never have to live through something so terrifying as that.
Man.
I wish it on my worst enemy.
Facts. Bro, well, that was Nightmare Files, man. If you guys want to see more Nightmare Files, I left a link to the original video down in the comment section so you guys can head over, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and show your support when he does drop videos. He was nice enough to let me react to his videos, man, so I really, really appreciate that. So make sure you guys will stop by and show some love. But speaking of sleep paralysis, bro, I didn't know this had a name. I've suffered from sleep paralysis from, at least I would like to say, from elementary to middle school. I didn't really know what it was called. I used to always sleep on my back, and that's when it would happen. So now I can't. Even though sleeping on my back is like the most comfortable position for me, I don't do it because I get sleep paralysis. And sleep paralysis is freaking scary. Just like he said, it feels like somebody's holding you down. You can't move. You're awake, you can't move. You can see everything around you. It's like the room is getting darker. You start seeing like stuff that's not there. Like it's really creepy. It's a really creepy experience. That's why I'm glad I haven't experienced it lately. I think the last time I had it was like maybe 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. But yeah, it's a scary thing. Especially you start seeing stuff that you're afraid of. Like I'm terrified of spiders. So every time I have sleep paralysis, it's either like it feels like I'm seeing like an apparition or like a spider or something that, you know, triggers the fear inside of me. And I don't know, it's scary. That's why I really, really wish I could sleep on my back, because I feel like I get the best sleep on my back, but I can't. So it is what it is. So yeah, that's no cap on his end about the sleep paralysis part. Hold on, I'm about to change the video for you guys. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask while I'm looking over to change the video. But yeah, man, make sure you guys don't get no sleep paralysis if you can't help it. And if you are, then make sure you tell us a story, or if you ever experienced it or know somebody that experienced it, because it is no joke. No joke, my friends. Hold on, wait a minute. Where is it? Ah, here it is. Hey, could you react to RDC World sometime? I'll check it out. I never heard. What is that? Is that like is that another type of horror story? What kind of channel is it? I have sleep paralysis, but then end up being real. What do you mean you have sleep paralysis but end up being real? Like if you go to sleep, you actually see something. That's crazy. Like I mean, I guess I think I told that story already. But yeah, I don't know. I've had feelings where I've been walking or doing something that feels like somebody's staring at me and there's like nobody there. I don't know if that's like some kind of paranormal thing or it's just me being paranoid because I watch so much scary stuff and I'm always aware of my surroundings. But it's been times where I've seen somebody walking and I look up and I'm like, okay, either they just turned off and ran or I'm just tired or something. But I don't know. I blame stuff on things that's not possible. I'm like, oh, you know what? Maybe I was seeing things. Maybe it was a squirrel, or maybe somebody left the water on. You get what I'm saying? Oh, I forgot to turn the light off. Like, I'm that kind of person. Like, I'll blame it on everything until I physically see it or visually see it. I'm just like, all right, okay, it's real now. Big Chunk is ghost. I have sleep paralysis. It's bad, man. I woke up screaming one night. It's awful. Yeah, it's really bad, man. It's horrible. And it's just like, I think the scariest part for me when I have sleep paralysis is like, you know what's happening. You're trying your hardest to move and you can't move. And it's like the room is just getting like super dark. You're just like, oh shit. It's going down. No, please wake up. Wake up. It's kind of like, it feels like some Freddy Krueger type thing. Nah, man, they make funny videos. Everything they post is priceless stress. Yeah, I'll check it out sometime. No, it was my mom with a grilled cheese. Wow, that's real Thornton. Is it grilled cheese? Doggo. All right, let's get it. Dog walking horror stories. This is a unusual type horror stories. Like, I mean, you probably do see some stuff at night. But I don't walk dogs at night. But who knows? This might not even be at night. I don't walk dogs at night. I like to walk dogs during the daytime. I can see everything, see everyone, see colors and vehicles and descriptions if I need to. Like, at night, it's cool and stuff if you live in, like, the perfect neighborhood. But, nah, bro, I don't do night walks. I don't do night. I mean, I'm going to say, I have done a night jog before. It was pretty cool. But I prefer daylight. But that's just me. But this video is by Mr. Nightmare, so if you guys haven't already, be sure you swoop down to that description box, click on that link, go watch the video to the entirety while me pausing and stopping and talking through the whole thing. Let's get it. Bro, I'm the only one who watches TV and somebody passes the TV and goes to another room and it catches you off guard and you don't know how they got there. Wait, what? Bro, I'm the only one who watches TV and somebody passed it. What? Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't know, Squirrel. I don't know what you talking about, bruh. I'm not with all that funny stuff. Let's get it.
I take my dog Hemi for a walk twice a day and let him in the yard once. When I take him for a walk around the neighborhood, I always try to take different routes just to keep it from getting repetitive, not just for me, but for Hemi as well. Oftentimes on the weekends, I take him for longer walks since I have more free time, and I don't have the stress of other work-related things still lingering in my mind. On a cloudy, humid Saturday evening, it was one of those times that I decided to take him on a long walk.
Melatonin gave me a headache.
Like almost an hour. We were in a part of the neighborhood I wasn't too familiar with. I found a walking trail that was part of the town's huge nature preserve. It was a rather low-key path. There didn't seem to be any other people on it but me. It was a rather narrow path with woods on either side.
Luca.
It wasn't a cement bike path like the other trails in the preserve. Hemi led the way, pulling the leash harder than usual, probably excited by all the new random smells he was picking up. Eventually on the trail, we passed this little square park. It had a swing set and little playground, along with a basketball court, or rather what was once a basketball court, as there were no hoops. I decided to walk in through the little opening, as Hemi was going crazy over something. I was planning on just sitting on one of the benches facing the playground to take a break because I was getting a little tired.
Don't do it.
When I sat down, Hemi kept pulling and started barking at something. He'd only really do that when he saw another dog or animal, sometimes people, but less often. So I entertained it and got up and started giving him slack to run towards whatever he thought he saw.
What's up, Freezer?
I looked into the woods but couldn't see anything. The closer we got, the more aggressive Hemi got, until he was basically choking himself with the collar, trying to pull me into the woods.
Don't do it.
Then out popped a man from behind a big tree. He was laughing and saying, "Whoa, whoa, he caught me." I told Hemi to calm down and pulled him away from the woods. And the man. I apologized for my dog and walked away, as the way in which he came out from that tree was bizarre.
You apologize to a man that's hiding behind a tree in a park? Why? Oh my goodness, bro. Oh my god, you cannot make this up. This dude apologized to someone that was stalking him in the park. Like it was the dog's fault. Love your channel, one of the best. Hopefully it gets to 100,000. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. We'll get there one day. I appreciate you guys. You guys keep me going. It's the Chupacabra. 100%, bro. It's the Chupacabra or the El Cucuy. Definitely Canadian.
He said it's all good, dude, as he seemed to follow in the direction we were walking. Hemi kept looking back and barking. I continued to tug him forward. Eventually, I had to turn around and ask if there was something I could help him with, as he even seemed to follow me outside of the park and onto the trail.
Second red flag.
He put his arms up in the air and smiled.
Third red flag.
He said he just wants to pet my dog.
Fourth red flag.
I said, "Nah, he doesn't like you, man. We're just gonna walk our own way." He didn't reply, so I turned and continued walking, faster now. Hemi kept turning around and growling, and every time I'd look back, he'd be the same distance away from me.
Fifth red
kind of
flag.
off the trail a bit, half hiding behind the trees like he thought he was being slick.
Sixth red flag.
I was about to call back at him to piss off, but then it hit me this guy might be dangerous. I started running down the trail until I came to the little opening we entered from, and exited through that. Back on the streets, Hemi would keep looking back as we ran, but I'd have to tug him to keep running.
7th red flag.
We ran all the way back to my house without stopping. I
8th
actually
red
do
flag.
cardio regularly, so I wasn't concerned about that guy keeping up. I highly doubted it, especially since Hemi stopped looking back eventually.
Yeah, okay.
It was now a couple hours after getting back. Hemi was in his bed, which was right next to mine, when he unexpectedly lifted his head to look at the window and growled. At first I thought it was because of the sound of the rain droplets that had just begun to hit the outside of the window. I was thinking about getting up out of bed to close the window, even though I was already comfortable in bed. Then it happened. A voice speaking into the window. A voice I recognized from a few hours ago, asking if I knew why he was in the woods. Hemi started going crazy. I jumped in my skin and turned to the window. I couldn't see his features or face, but I could see the outline of his body at my window. I yelled, "What do you want?" He calmly asked if I saw what he was doing in the woods.
He was beating his meat.
I told him no, and he asked me, "Are you sure?" I said yes with a tremble in my voice. He said okay, and I saw the outline of his body move away from the window. Hemi stopped growling after a few moments. I closed the window and latched it. I wouldn't have been able to sleep that night without calling the police. I told them I was followed by someone in the park, and that he came to my window. The dispatcher asked if the man left, and I told her to my knowledge, yes. She said if you were to come back, to call 911 again. She implied it was a busy night since it was a Saturday.
Tell him.
I did feel comfort knowing Hemi would give me a warning at least if he were to come back. He didn't end up coming back though, thank God. The man's words, "Did you see what I was doing in the park?" still don't really make sense to me. I wonder if you were implying he was doing something he didn't want others to see, and that he was worried I witnessed it. But that alone would raise even more questions.
Who knows what I'm about to say? Anybody? Does anyone know what I'm about to say? Anyone at all? Who knows me well? Nah, bro, you gotta go. Now you caught me. My baby brother's watching now. He's 5 months. I'll have to watch what I have to say now. Can you give me a shout out when you get to 100K? Sure. Youngest subscriber. Really, Texas? How old are you? I'm not doing good. I'm not doing good in school, son. Hey, you gotta hit them books, man. I was the same way. I was really bad in school, but I got better over time. I hated school, but school is pretty cool. I'll start popping off shots. Facts. I'd be curious and go back and look around the area. Where's my super suit? Yeah, like, I don't know. Me personally, if a guy told me, or somebody, guy, woman, whoever was following me, and he said, "Hey, did you see what I was doing?" 9 times out of 10, he probably was back there killing somebody, or he killed somebody and was getting rid of the evidence, or he was back there beating his meat. He was weird. He was probably the weirdo. But he told them all of that, but didn't tell him, or didn't tell the dispatcher that the dude said, "Did you see what I was doing?" Maybe send a unit out there and check around the park area to see if they find any dead bodies. Because no one's going to follow you that long and ask you if you've seen anything. You get what I'm saying? He was trying to get rid of the witnesses, which means he thought you witnessed what he was doing. Your dog almost got you clapped because this dude thought you seen something. And he was acting weird. He wanted to pet your dog. And I'm pretty sure if he'd have said, "Hey, I want to pet your dog," and he went back and actually let him pet the dog, he's pretty sure he would have killed him. But that's just my guess. I don't know. Me personally, if I was going to call the police, I'm going to give the full description, not just some of it. Like, "Oh, he's followed me home and he was in my window." Are you going to tell him that he was doing something suspicious in the woods during the park? Like, come on now. I should be a detective. Yeah, for real. I'm getting the shotgun. How much you make from YouTube? I don't make anything. Like, I'm not big enough to make anything. No, I mean, if I was making something, I'll tell you guys, but I'm not making anything. I'm not even close to being big. Like, if I was doing this as a full-time job and I actually got paid from YouTube, like, I would tell you guys, because you guys are helping me pretty much, live off of what I'm doing. So I wouldn't mind sharing that with you guys, but I'm not making nothing, to be honest with you. I mean, I would say if I was, but I'm not. What's up, Flexo? Story 2.
It was a regular night in the summer of 2010. I was taking my dog Poppy out for his nighttime walk.
I'll give so many giveaways.
I usually take the same route. Sometimes I'll stray down one different block. Not always, though. This one night, I branched off a familiar block to a not-so-familiar one. All that I knew of this block was that there was an abandoned house on the corner. It's known as the Murder House. I've only ever passed it while driving. The first time I saw it, I slowed down just because it's such an eyesore, sticking out like a sore thumb from the rest of the houses.
That's cap.
I never could understand why the town wouldn't just tear it down and build a new home, especially given the house's history. The reason no one ever bought it was because of the murder of a young woman inside, potentially by her boyfriend. He was never to be heard of again. No body, no signs of leaving, nothing. Walking down the block, I saw the house slowly getting closer. I already planned on stopping in front of it to take a look, but Poppy actually stopped before I even did, and just looked at the house. I could tell by his ears and his head tilting that he was engaged by something. I looked around the neighboring houses, which were spaced out generously, and our neighborhood has a lot of green, meaning tons of bushes and trees lining the streets. Plus, it was as dark as could get out, and the house was conveniently situated in a gap between the streetlights.
The only thing I could think of with big trees at nighttime is spiders, bro. Oh my god, there's nothing more terrifying than walking under a tree at nighttime and getting hit in the face with a spider web. That's why every time, if there's a tree that's kind of like hanging over the sidewalk, I always walk around like the curb area and then go back on the sidewalk because I don't want to get hit in the face with a spider web or get a spider landing on me.
It didn't seem like any of the neighbors could possibly be watching me from where I was, so I started walking onto the grass of the property, but Poppy stayed in place. He started to growl and make whimpering type sounds, like he was frustrated. I pulled him hard enough, and he started to follow onto the property. He was fixated on a window that was opened. I stepped onto the house-length front wooden deck and walked to the window.
Why?
Poppy was still making growling and whimpering sounds. I pressed my face up to the screen of the window, surprised the window was even left open. I started to wonder if maybe someone was still managing this house in some way.
Yes.
Whatever that would even mean. Inside the house was dark, but not pitch black. I could see the walls to the empty living room, and then the opening in the wall that led to a back room with another window. As I was observing, I heard the sound of something inside the house, like a blunt object hitting the floor. It came from further back in the house, like in that back room. Why? Having my dog with me gave me some kind of weird confidence boost to go through the side of the backyard.
Why?
The backyard was literally huge. The grass was very tall, indicating I was likely wrong about any kind of property management. Only thing in the big yard was an old wooden decrepit-looking shed in the corner. The door to it was slightly open. I was more curious about looking in through that window. As I looked inside, I couldn't see anything except an empty black room, probably what was once a mud room. Poppy was looking at the shed, not barking or growling though. He was kind of silent. I walked quietly towards the shed, tugging him slowly and softly to keep him quiet too. The door was open enough for me to look inside the giant shed. It was not empty. There weren't tools or bicycles or anything. There was just this skinny girl standing in the middle of the otherwise empty shed. I say girl, but I couldn't tell if it was just a girl or a woman.
What's the difference?
Poppy suddenly went ballistic, barking and making these noises I could only describe as a dog's version of screaming.
I'm getting chills.
He wasn't pulling to go inside of the shed. He was pulling to get away. The girl's head inside the shed turned to the door, and I ran. We ran. Poppy and I ran for 3 straight blocks until I was out of breath. Then we walked the rest of the way back to my house. I went to a house nicknamed Murder House, where a young woman was killed potentially by her boyfriend. And then I witnessed a young woman standing in the middle of that empty shed. I don't know if I believe it was an apparition, or just some girl by chance trying to explore that abandoned house just like me.
Explore the house just like you? What is you talking about, bro? Oh my goodness. First of all, see, this is why I can't have friends. I can't have friends like this. He got some brass on him. I give him that because I'm not going to no abandoned house at night with my dog. I love my dog to death, but no, bro, nah. And then the fact that your dog was growling on the outside of the house. Dogs have a really good sense of hearing, good sense of smell, bro. They know when something's about to go down. They'll be the first to know. That's why I think it's good to have at least some kind of pets because they'll let you know ahead of time before it even happens. He was growling. He was growling at something. He seen what it was. Because my first thing was, you heard something drop at the back of the house, right? So you didn't even get into the house. You didn't hear no door close or anything. So how did that sound get from inside the house into the shed? You get what I'm saying? And then your dog started pulling away. If your dog starts pulling away, bro, if he's scared, you better get the hell out of Dodge, bro. Because it takes a lot to make a dog turn around and run, unless the dog is just like a little weenie. But if your dog is known to like not back down and your dog turns and run, you better run twice as fast. Drop the leash if you have to, bro. Let the dog keep up to you. But it's time to go, man. That scared me just listening to it. It was 100% a ghost. I don't think a dog would just turn and run from a person like that. You know what I'm saying? Just like the last video, the dog kind of like challenged them, but I think it was some kind of being that terrified the hell out that dog, or some kind of energy that scared the shit out of him and made him leave. Have to go in like 30 minutes for school. All right, Zombs. First red flag, dog looking at something. Yep. Second red flag. Yep. See? There you go. You guys get it. That's not true. The worst thing is when you sleep and you notice a spider is on you, so you freak out and realize it's a blanket rubbing on your leg. Oh, man. That's not bad. Nah, get out of there. 3 flags. You saw someone that looked like a girl. Yeah, there we go. All the flags. Are you scared of Spider-Man? No. No, I'm not scared of Spider-Man. Spider-Man is cool. That's a nice spider. I'm talking about the ones that are super hairy and crawl on you and do weird stuff. Story 3.
I was 10 when my parents let my brothers and I get our first dog. I'm the middle sibling, and it was always my older brother and I's job to walk the dog. Our dog's name was Nyla.
Ooh.
Nyla was a golden retriever.
I like that name.
My brother would walk her in the afternoon after school, and I would walk her at night. I don't remember anything about what kind of night it was.
Peace
Cold,
out, Squidward.
warm, weeknight, weekend, nothing. All the details I remember are what I'm including in my recounting of this experience. I was like halfway through my walk with Nyla when she looked across the street and her tail started wagging. She started barking and tugging to go say hi to this dog that was being walked by a man across the street.
Oh, snap.
The man made the decision for the both of us to cross the street and allow our dogs to say hi.
An actual video.
His dog was a very tiny, fluffy dog. I think it might have been a Maltese. His dog seemed very timid and like he didn't want to be bothered by Nyla. The man asked my name and I gave it to him, and he told me his name. I don't remember it, honestly. But we got into this long conversation about our dogs. He really seemed to like Nyla, and Nyla kind of liked him. He was telling me how his golden retriever had recently passed away, and he had a bunch of toys and dog supplies that he'd love to give me. I figured, why not? It's my lucky day. He said his house was around the block, so he led the way. I was walking kind of next to him, though, as we walked. We were in the street the rest of the way back, but the residential roads are usually quiet. After kind of awkwardly walking back to his house, he let me in first. His house was okay, modest, nothing special. He led Nyla and I into the kitchen as he let his dog go run off into a different room. He asked me to have a seat on one of the stools by the island in the kitchen and asked if I wanted anything to eat. He offered me a bag of chips, and I accepted it. He handed me a bag of some off-brand potato chips.
Red flag. Off-brand potato chips. Yep, red flag. You can't trust nobody that got off-brand potato chips. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some. There's not many. There is some off-brand chips that are kind of good, but majority of the time, them things is nasty. It's either too much salt, or it don't taste like nothing, or the chip is too hard, or it's just gross in general, or the flavor is like weird. You get what I'm saying? But another thing, RC, if somebody hand you a Mountain Dew, that's red flag. But I don't know. This one didn't seem too bad. I kind of felt like it was a red flag only because it's at nighttime and you just happen to want to give me toys at night. Like, I don't know. I'm like, hey, I can come back for it in the morning. You get what I'm saying? But that's why I went like this. Like, it kind of is a red flag, but at the same time, maybe it was just being nice. But another kind of like suspicion was kind of like, when you open your door to your house, you usually walk in first. You're like, hey, come on in. Like, I've never seen somebody open their door to make you go in first. That's kind of backward. That's like me putting milk and then putting the cereal. Kind of like, I don't know. That's the way I feel about it. I just have a really red flag sensitive alarm. If you even do something that kind of just seems off to me, I'm just going to be like, I don't know. I think I should go home. Like, never eat off-brand chips. Yes, listen to Sherelle. Never eat off-brand chips. Off-brand cereal is okay because I've tried off-brand cereals and let me tell you, there's not a big difference between the two. And sometimes off-brand tastes better than the real stuff. You heard it here, folks. I'm not too bad about off-brand. But when it comes to chips, no. Soda, it depends. But yeah, let's get it.
Then he just sat on the stool next to mine and started petting Nyla. He was awfully close to me, And then he looked down at the bag of chips, I think, as if he were waiting for me to open it.
Doritos?
I put it on the island in front of me.
The sweet chili ones.
He just sat there petting Nyla, not saying much. I was wondering when he was going to get the dog supplies he promised. He didn't show any signs of doing that, though. Instead, he was asking me personal questions, making awkward small talk with me.
About to clap them cheeks.
At one point, I remember he even patted my knee as if he were my father or something.
Hell no.
I remember an overwhelming feeling of discomfort suddenly.
The knee pat is a trick. They use that in prison. The knee pat. They do little sudden movements and taps to see where your mind is, to see how you're going to react. If you don't stop them right then and there, they're going to go for something else. Watch. He's going to do something else weird. Watch.
So I finally asked about the collar, toys, and other supplies he mentioned. He said he'd be right back and go get it.
Watch.
He said it, not them. I remember picking up on that. He left through one of the 2 doorways in the kitchen. Then I heard him stomping downstairs to the basement. Moments later, I heard him call up to me to come downstairs and check out some of the stuff he wanted to give me. I got up just to walk over to the basement door, still deciding if I'd want to go down.
Lock it.
But then Nyla started growling at something behind the open basement door. I looked. There was someone crouched down in the dark hallway. I didn't really know what to think, but I just left the house in a hurry. I got home and didn't say anything to my family. I just went to my room the rest of the night, quiet and shooken up. It was the first and only time I ever felt I was about to be targeted for being a young age. My only explanation was there were 2 men in that house, and the second I'd walk into that basement, the other would have shut the door on me. I didn't tell any of my family about it simply because it made me uncomfortable and honestly slightly embarrassed. Telling the internet anonymously is completely different.
I don't know. Everybody's just built different. I was going to be like, why wouldn't you do that? But hey, like you said, he's anonymous. He don't want to tell his family. But at the same time, I feel like you have to have that conversation with yourself and realize if you don't tell somebody, they're going to get somebody the same way. They go walking at night and that's probably their plan. They probably go walking at night to run into other handlers or other dog owners and try to get them to come to their place. And no telling how many times they did that, and it worked because he was just too comfortable with doing it. So hopefully those dudes got arrested or they moved locations or just gone somewhere off and not did anymore. But I'm 100% sure they probably out there doing that stuff. They could have been human traffickers. You never know, man. They probably they would have killed his dog. They probably would have killed him, raped him. And you never know, man. That's why you don't go walking your dog at nighttime. I don't do it. You shouldn't either. I'm a daylight person, man. Always be aware of surroundings. I catch myself sometimes forgetting to look around my surroundings too when I'm outside doing something, or I'm outside working, or I'm on the phone. You gotta look around because 9 times out of 10 you might see something that may save your life or save somebody else's life. All right.
Today we're gonna find out.
Uh-oh. You already heard his voice. My bad. That was going to be a surprise, but you guys heard it already. So, it is what it is. Y'all heard it already. And this man right here, the man. He's on vacation right now, so I hope he has a safe vacation and he returns safely and continues his YouTube career and we continue to be a great content creator. We're going to end the night with a bang like we always do. And yeah. So hopefully you guys enjoy this. If you guys haven't already, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, head over to his channel. The link is down in the description. Click on the link, go show you some support to this great content creator, man. As well as the other 2 that I've just previously watched, Nightmare Files, Mr. Nightmare, and Mr. Ballin. But yeah. Also show some love for your boy too. We almost at 2K. I'm not talking about basketball. We almost there. All right, let's get it.
Today we're going to find out if you're claustrophobic. But before we get into today's stories, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you've come to the right channel because that's all we do, and we upload 3, 4, even 5 times every week. So if that's of interest to you, please ask the like button to deepen the defensive trench around OP Rock, and tell them in exchange they can take home any of the artifacts they pull out of the ground. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly uploads. All right, let's get into today's stories.
Number 3, stroll on the beach.
33-year-old Nicola Raybon was a nurse who also studied criminology in college. In January of 2012, she was thrilled to move into a new house in Lancashire with her partner John and her 2 kids. And then later that month, she and her family flew out to the Caribbean island of Antigua to attend her father's second marriage. And while she was excited for her father, she was mostly just excited about the pampering she was going to get from the 5-star hotel she was staying in. On the first night they arrived, Nicola went down to the bar to have a couple drinks with her friends. Now, Nicola was not known for being a big drinker or partier. In fact, she was more well known for her work with different charities and for being a really dedicated mother. In fact, one time, after her children were named mascots for a local soccer team, Nicola apparently lost sleep. She was so excited for them. Dang. After Nicola had a few drinks, her friends said they were going to leave and go to a restaurant to grab some dinner, and they asked her if she wanted to come. And Nicola declined, and she said, you know what, I'd rather just go watch the sunset up on the beach. You guys have a good time. After her friends left, Nicola walked up the steps onto the beach. She took her sandals off and took her phone out of her pocket, and she put them on a chair, and she walked off. Later that night, Nicola's father was supposed to meet up with his daughter, but when he went to their meeting spot, she didn't show up. And so he walked around the hotel asking different guests if they'd seen her, and no one seemed to know where she was, but that group of friends that had sat with her at the bar, he found them, and they said, oh yeah, she went on the beach to watch the sunset. And so Nicola's father actually smiled to himself because he thought, great, I can go on the beach, find my daughter, and finally have a chance to have, a one-on-one conversation with her, because ever since I got to Antigua, I've been surrounded by guests and I barely had a chance to talk to her. And so Nicola's father walks up to the beach and he looks around and he doesn't see his daughter, and it's starting to get dark, so he figures, you know what, I'll give her a call. And so he calls his daughter and she doesn't pick up. And he thinks, okay, she probably just isn't looking at her phone. After that, he called Nicola's partner, John, and he picked up and he said, no, I haven't seen her. The last I heard, I thought she was going to the beach. That's what her friend said. And Nicola's father said, yeah, that's where I am and I can't find her, but I'm sure she's somewhere. And so after he hung up with John, Nicola's father went back into the hotel and he asked Nicola's kids if they had seen her, and they said no. And so now, feeling a little bit concerned, Nicola's father rounds up a couple of guests to go help him look for his daughter. And so they go up on the beach, and one of them quickly discovers Nicola's cell phone and sandals sitting on that chair near the hotel.
Yeah, it is.
So right away, it just seems like this is a big red flag. She's out on the beach. We don't know where she is. She doesn't have her phone. And so now Nicola's father is really worried, and he calls the police. Then at some point, as the search party moved farther and farther down the beach, they heard the sound of someone screaming in the distance. And it sounded like a woman, and Nicola's father said it sounded like his daughter. And so they all start running in the direction of the screaming, but it's so far away and it's so dark that they can't make out who it is or even where they are. And after they ran down the beach a ways, the screaming just stopped. And so they really couldn't figure out who it was. And so everyone's just stumped and overwhelmed by the situation. And for the rest of the night, they just continued to look around the beach, and they never found the screaming woman, and they never found Nicola. The next morning, when the police were still on the beach looking for Nicola and now looking in the hotel as well, the tide went out, and that's when they discovered Nicola. After she left the bar, Nicola did go up onto the beach to watch the sunset, and she did it by going down to the water and just walking along the water's edge. And so as she walked away from the resort, watching this beautiful sunset, she walked deeper and deeper into the water until she was almost waist deep. And at some point, she hit a patch of quicksand and sunk into it. And so she began screaming and yelling for help, but no one could hear her because she was so far away from the resort. And so for hours, she sat there as the tide slowly came in, and she was just pinned, waiting to drown. And then finally, when people realized she was missing and that search party was within earshot of her, it was too late. The water levels were already at her neck, and by the time they actually got up pretty close to her, the water had gone over her head and she drowned. It turned out the search party was basically right next to her. But by the time they got there, she was already underwater, so they couldn't see her.
Damn, son, that's crazy, man. I was thinking like, wait a minute, claustrophobic. I'm like, how are you claustrophobic on a beach? Like, the beach is out in the open. Quicksand and I didn't know quicksand could be in the ocean. I thought quicksand was a desert jungle thing, but hey, shoot, man. Damn, that makes you want to keep your cell phone on you at all times, huh? Dang, that's crazy. So that whole time she was out there screaming, but they heard the last scream, but it was already too late, and they walked past her. Can you imagine her being in the water and she can like visually see them walking past, and she can't scream because she's underwater? Oh my goodness, bro, that's a terrible feeling. Like, I just thinking about it, it makes my stomach hurt a little bit. That's like I don't know, man. Gates of the Arctic.
Growing up in Oklahoma, Blake Stanfield loved going out in the wilderness with his father, Neil. The pair were more like best friends than father and son, and they spent as much time together as they possibly
Thanks, James. I appreciate
But by
you.
the time Blake was in his 30s, he had become a medical doctor, and so he was really busy, and he was married, and he had a young kid, and so he didn't see his father very much. And then in 2003, when Blake was 38, he moved his family to Alaska, and so he really didn't see his father anymore. But shortly after moving, Blake had an idea. He wanted to surprise his dad on his 65th birthday with a rafting trip in Alaska. It was going to be this great way for the two to reconnect with each other. When he broke the news to his father, Neil was really touched by it and very excited, but at the same time, he was a little bit apprehensive, and he asked his son, are we going in a group? Is this going to be a guided rafting trip? And Blake said, oh no, that's the wrong way to do this. We will not have a good time if we go with a group. We're doing this alone. And so Neil said, well, isn't that a little bit risky, just the two of us out in the middle of Alaska? And Blake said, don't worry, I've picked a river that by Alaskan standards is considered leisurely, so we'll be just fine. Neil was still hesitant about it, but the two of them were very competent outdoorsmen, and so ultimately he just went along with it.
Remember what I told you guys? If one person, even if it's yourself, if you have one doubt in your mind, don't do it. Please trust your gut. Don't care. They can call you a chicken, a weenie, whatever. If you have a bad feeling, do not do it.
So later that year, in early July, Blake and Neil took a float plane out to the gates of the Arctic National Park in Alaska. This park is totally beautiful, but it's also very dangerous because it's full of grizzly bears and wolves, and it's also very remote. There's no people anywhere near this park. It's basically untouched wilderness. Adding to the isolation and danger, Blake and Neil did not have their cell phones or a radio. It was Blake's idea. He said it would be a good idea for us to just totally disconnect and just spend quality time together. And then also Blake had chosen a starting point on this river that was situated basically right in the middle of the park, which meant it was 60 miles away from the nearest human settlement. So after they got dropped off by this float plane and then the captain of that plane took off again, Blake and Neil loaded their stuff into their raft and then they hopped in and they started cruising down this river. At first, their trip was awesome. The weather was perfect,
Ooh,
the landscape was beautiful, the water was totally calm, and Neil, he might have had reservations about the safety of this trip, but quickly he was overcome with just how peaceful it was and how wonderful it was to be with just his son out on the open water. And in fact, Blake had intentionally booked this trip 2 weeks before the start of the official rafting season in Alaska, which meant really there was nobody else in the water. It was just those two. And they thought, wow, what luck. Except it turns out there's a very specific reason why the rafting season starts when it does in Alaska, because that's the earliest the ice melts in the river and it becomes safe to travel on. After 2 hours of peace and tranquility out on this river, Blake and Neil started to notice these large ice chunks in the water ahead of them, and they were easy enough to get around, but as they kept moving, the current was picking up and these ice chunks got bigger and bigger until they started being these huge sheets all across the edges of the river where there was only a narrow strip of water they could travel through. And at some point, Neil asked Blake if it would be a good idea to just pull the raft over to the side of the river and get out and reassess the situation and see if we've reached an anomaly in the river where just this section is frozen, or if this is going to continue for a lot farther, and if so, we need to make alternative plans here. But Blake was not having it. He was stubborn, he wanted to keep going, and he was convinced he could maneuver the boat around the ice. And he said, let's just keep going a little bit farther.
Yo, what's his name at? Where's his name? What's his name? Where's it at? Mr. Anti-Crust. Bro, now you can start swinging Anti-Crust. Now you can start swinging, bro. This Blake dude, oh my goodness, bro. He just don't listen. Like, bro, take the time out to just look and just see what's up ahead. Like, damn, bro, stop being so damn hard-headed. Like, gee whiz, Batman.
And so when they went a little bit farther, they reached a point where the current was so strong that they could no longer get out of the river. They had to ride it like a rapid until it stopped. And so as the father and son are fighting with each other about not having gotten out of the river while they still had a chance, they were not paying attention to what was in front of them, and they came around a corner and there was this huge ice shelf that was right across the whole river that basically blocked the whole path. And they turned at the last second. They couldn't do anything either way, but the nose of the raft went directly under the ice shelf and it flipped the raft onto its side, dumping Neil and Blake into frigid Alaskan waters underneath the ice shelf. And Blake would later say that he really believed that this was it. He didn't know how far this ice shelf was going to go on for, and so he assumed, I'm about to drown. but they managed to hit this air pocket inside of this ice shelf. The ice basically formed up at a bow, and they both happened to pop up into it, and they gripped onto the ice. And they're looking at each other, and they have no idea how long this ice shelf continues. But the current is pulling them, and they know it's just a matter of time before they get sucked under and go back under the ice. And so they look at each other, and they don't really know what to say, but it's kind of obvious that they think they're about to drown. And then at some point, Neil gets sucked under and swept away, and then Blake follows shortly after. And unfortunately, they only tumbled along for about 10 or 15 more feet before they popped up again.
Oh my goodness.
But much like the boat that could not paddle out of the river because of how strong the current was, Blake and Neil could not get out of the river in time before they hit yet another ice shelf. And the next ice shelf was much longer than the first. And so they knew it was going to happen. They grabbed onto the ice shelf, and they're holding on, and they're trying to pull themselves back out, but the current's too strong. And at some point, they each had to take a big breath and then let go and got pulled directly under the ice. And so the whole time they're pressing their face up against the underside of this ice in hopes they find an air pocket, but they don't. And so the whole time they're just desperately looking for air, and they're bumping into the underside of the ice. They have no idea how long it's going to go on for. And so after what felt like an eternity, Blake finally gets shot out the backside of this huge ice shelf. And he's still in the river, but there's no more ice shelves in front of him, and the current had slowed down a little bit, so he was able to make his way to the edge and get out of the water. And he turned to face the water, and his dad was nowhere to be found. And so Blake turns, and he doesn't see his father coming out of the ice. He doesn't know if he's still under, if he came out again. And so he turns and runs downstream in hopes that he might have come out already. And sure enough, he found his dad clutching a rock in the middle of this river farther up. His head was badly bleeding, but he was alive. And so Blake grabbed a stick and was able to bring his father back into shore. Even though they had survived being pulled under the ice, they now had no equipment, no gear, no food, no water, no anything, because it was pulled under the water.
Hypothermia.
And they were soaking wet and becoming hypothermic. And they're in the middle of nowhere with no one nearby to help them. And no one's expecting them for a week. And no planes are going to be in the area for 2 weeks. Fortunately, Blake had a lighter in his pocket that worked. And so they were able to start a fire and stay warm, and they were able to scare away grizzly bears and wolves. Blake finally walked away from their campsite, which was up on a mountain, and he went down to this river where he was able to flag down a float plane that was not even scheduled to be in the area. It was just totally random, and they saw Blake, they came back, they picked him up, and both men were just fine. They did say that even though the trip was a complete disaster and nearly killed both of them, it did reconnect them in a way that few things could, and their relationship is good as ever. But they both say they will never go rafting again.
I mean, I don't blame them. I mean, I wouldn't go rafting either. After hearing this story, I don't want to go rafting. After hearing the last story, I don't want to go to the beach. That's the only thing, like the internet and YouTube videos kind of like ruin stuff. Like, oh, I want to do this. They're like, oh, a guy was beat up and jumped by a bunch of dwarves on a cruise ship, and they took out his eyeballs. Well, I don't want to go on vacation no more now. Like, ew, man, that's crazy, dude. All you have to do. All this could have been avoided, but the thing is, if you think about it, which is crazy, like I said, when you have that feeling like, oh, maybe something bad's going to happen, kind of like listen to it. But imagine if you don't go, you would have never knew that was going to happen. You get what I'm saying? So imagine how many times you may have avoided death just by saying no or saying yes to something. It's crazy, huh? It's kind of deep when you think about it, isn't it? Yeah, think about that one. That's crazy how we gotta stay home from today. What do you say? It's crazy that we gotta stay home from today. It takes near-death experience to get close to each other. Nah, bro. Yeah, facts. It'll take, man. We can duke it out and then our bond be stronger than ever. He said dwarf. Some did. Just something weird, like. But that's crazy to think about, though. The Lookout. It's the last one.
On July 10th, 1941, a brand new British submarine was commissioned called HMS Umpire. 9 days later, on July 19th, the submarine and her crew were told to meet up with a convoy moving north along the Medway River in England and make their way to Scotland. So Umpire joined up with the convoy, but then they started having engine problems that night, and they began drifting back behind the convoy until they were basically not in the convoy anymore at all. During this time, the commander of the submarine was up in the bridge, which is the area that controls the submarine when it's above surface, just above the wing. The captain of the Umpire was concerned this convoy would not see them when they came through because they were a submarine, so they're sitting low in the water and they're already all dark. They have no lights on the outside on purpose. because this was during World War II and they didn't want German ships or planes to spot them. And because of their engine problems, they had drifted away from their convoy, which would have been protection. So the captain decides to deviate from their course to get the submarine clearly out of the way of this convoy. And so when he started turning the submarine, the steering broke, leaving the submarine now turned so its entire side is now facing this convoy.
Oh my goodness.
And they were still drifting directly towards this convoy. And so sure enough, before the captain could do anything, one of the larger ships struck the side of the submarine, immediately flooding their forward torpedo room. And for a brief second, the submarine and the ship were kind of mangled together, and then it slipped off the ship and it sunk all the way to the bottom, 18 meters down. The captain, along with the other 3 men that were up on the bridge with him when they were struck, they managed to leap out at the last second and were treading water when this all happened. As for the other 34 crew members, they were stuck inside when it sunk. A number of the crew had been sleeping at the time of the crash, and so all they felt was this crash. The power goes out, they leap out of their beds, and they're landing in waist-deep water, and they're running out into the halls, kind of fumbling around because they can't see anything, and all they can hear is the sound of water pouring inside of their submarine. And so these sailors had gone through all sorts of drills to prepare for this type of scenario where, you know, power's out and you're sinking, and so they know by touch how to get to the one area that has an escape hatch, which is the engine room. And after 20 of them got inside the engine room, the water levels in the hallway were getting so high that it was spilling into that room.
Oh, maybe not.
And it was getting to the point where if they didn't seal the door, they were going to flood this one room that was their only chance of survival. And so they had to make the heartbreaking decision to lock and seal that door, meaning the 14 other sailors on the other side, if they hadn't already died, were now condemned. But for the 20 men who now were going to be able to use this escape hatch, there was no guarantee that would work. Because to use the escape hatch on a submarine, you need to understand how it works. You can't just open a hatch on a submarine. It won't open. The pressure from the seawater presses down on it to where it literally cannot open. You might be able to open it a crack if you use a tool, but that's about it. In order to open the escape hatch, you need to use something called a lockout chamber. And so a lockout chamber is like this really tight claustrophobia-inducing thing that looks an awful lot like a gas chamber, where you step through one hatch and you shut it and you seal it so it's watertight, and then above you is your escape hatch.
That's crazy.
But you can't open it until the pressure inside of the chamber has been equalized. And the way they do that is they flood the inside of the chamber the escapee is in. And so you're standing inside of this tight space, totally sealed in, and there's a control panel inside the chamber itself and also inside the sub, if you're lucky enough to have someone do that for you. You turn on the chamber, at which point water is dumped inside of this tight space you're in until it's completely full and you're holding your breath, at which point you've now equalized. The pressure inside the chamber is equal to that outside, and you can actually open the hatch. So the person inside, on a breath hold, undoes the hatch, opens it up, and then hopefully your swim isn't too far because you're already on a breath hold, and you swim to the surface. During World War II, submariners were outfitted with a special piece of equipment if they ever needed to leave via the escape hatch, and it was their Davis escape gear, which is basically this life jacket that's uninflated, and when you manually activate it, it suddenly inflates, and so when you go through that hatch, you would activate it, and it would assist you to get to the surface.
I would have drowned, bro. 100%, boy. I would have drowned so hard. It's not even funny, bro. Just imagine, though. 14 people that you had to lock in there, bro. Oh, man. I say I couldn't do it, but, man, when it's your life on the line, you never know. That's crazy, man. 14 people. But that's something you got to sacrifice for the greater good, but, man. That's somebody's brother or somebody's uncle that's probably still at the bottom of the ocean. I don't know if they recovered the submarine or not, but if they didn't, their bodies are still down there, bruh.
And so after those 20 sailors had decided to seal off the engine room, they immediately shifted focus and began getting guys into the escape hatch. And one of their most junior sailors, a guy by the name of Killian, said he would stay inside the room and operate the control panel so everybody else had the best chance of getting out of the escape hatch. And so sure enough, he put all 19 into the hatch and he got them out of the submarine. And then he, on his own, had to get in the hatch, seal it himself, and control the panel in total darkness, flood the space, open it up, and shoot to the surface. He would live, and he would be awarded the British Empire Medal for bravery. One junior officer named Edward Jones was one of the 14 men that did not get to the engine room before they sealed it off. And when he got there and realized the situation, he turned around and looked down the hall, and there were only 3 other men that were standing there. And he didn't know how many had made it in the engine room. He figured this was the only 4 that had not made the cut. But in fact, there was actually 10 other people that were just stuck in various places inside of the submarine. But Jones decided he only had these guys in front of him, and so he said, hey, come with me, I have an idea. As Jones led them down this hallway, the water levels had risen up to their necks, and all these circuits on the walls were starting to spark all around them. And so Jones led them to the middle of the submarine, and then he turned and went up into the control room. And then from the control room, he went even farther up into what's called the conning tower. The conning tower is a submarine's main attack center. It's where you have those periscopes they look around in, and it also has the firing buttons for their torpedoes. It is not designed to be an escape hatch, because once you flood the conning tower, there's no control panel like there is on an escape hatch to drain the water that was used to equalize in order to open the hatch. So once the water's in, it's either you get to the surface or you drown. Also, in order to exit out of the conning tower, you need to go through this very narrow tube that goes straight up, and it's got a ladder through it that can barely fit 1 person climbing up, meaning the people at the bottom of the ladder will have to hold their breath a lot longer than the people at the top. So Jones and the other 3 sailors, they get to the conning tower and they seal the hatch at their feet, so blocking the hallway flood from coming into where they are. And they realize that even though they have to do this, there are no other alternatives here, that realistically 1 or 2 or more are going to die in the process of just trying to get out of the submarine. But it was all they could do, so they made peace with their decision. They climbed up and they opened the hatch just enough to let water come in, but quite a bit started coming in. The men wedged themselves as high up in the tunnel as they possibly could, but obviously not everybody could get all the way up to the hatch. And so 2 were down low, and Edward Jones and 1 other were up towards the top. And Jones would say that at first they were talking and praying, and then when they started feeling the water get closer and closer to their heads, they went silent. And then Jones remembers keeping his hand on the 1 man that was below him, and when his hand was wet, he knew the 2 men below him were completely submerged. And then the water came up to his face, covered his head, and at that point he opened it up and they swam out. Of the 4 men in the conning tower, only Edward Jones and the other guy who was high up in the tunnel with him made it to the surface. All told, only 14 of the 38 total crew survived the accident. So that's going to do it, guys. If you found the secret in today's episode, let us know in the comments what it is and where you found it, so give us the timestamp. And if you're the first to do that, we'll pin you at the top of the comments section. If you enjoyed today's video and you haven't done this already, please tell the like button to deepen the defensive trench around OP Rock, and you can tell them that in exchange for their work, they can keep any of the artifacts they dig up out of the ground. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly 3, 4, even 5 video uploads. If you want to get in touch with me, you can direct message me on Instagram or on Twitter. My username for both platforms is the same. It's JohnBallin416. I also have a ton of content over on TikTok where my username is Mr. Ballin. If you have a story suggestion, please submit it to our subreddit just called Mr. Ballin. It's linked in the description below. So whether I see you on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Reddit, YouTube, or some combination, just know that I really appreciate your support. And until next time, that's going to do it. See ya.
Bruh. Oh my goodness, man. That last story, I think that takes the cake, man. Fuck. That, man. Crashed the ship, people got sunk, people had to sacrifice other people. You knowing the people below you are going to die, and the people below you thinking they have hope, they about to make it out alive. Oh man, that sucks. Jesus. Oh man, I couldn't even imagine, man. Oh man, over an hour late. Yeah, probably next time. Zoms, it's getting kind of late. I had a 12-hour shift. I've been up since 04 in the morning, and it's already midnight, so I've been up for a long time. But man, like, I know a lot of stuff is improved. Like he said, can I get a hoo-ya? 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 Hi, Mr. Cozen. Sorry I didn't make it. You're good, internal, no problem. I hope nowadays they give people oxygen tanks and diving suits, assuming they learn to dive. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they probably upgraded their submarines. They probably have more escape systems and way to flood out the water that's coming in, or give them more time to escape while the water is flooding in. But yeah, man, that's crazy. Oh man, I can't even imagine, bro. I think that's like one of the worst ways to die. It's kind of like when that one guy got stuck in the cave. I forgot, he was doing some kind of he was trying to find some secret like underground like river or lake or something like that, and he got stuck in a tunnel, and he kept going deeper and deeper. He got wedged there, and they had no choice but to leave him in there and seal it off. I was like, oh dang, that's crazy. W stream, yo, thank you, Jordan, I appreciate it. But let me know if you guys like reaction videos, if you guys want to see me play some horror games or something like that, because I did used to be a horror game channel. So if you guys want to see some games or anything like horror type games, let me know. If not, then that's cool as well. Just want to throw some actual stuff out there. Can you actually speak German? No, I can't speak German. Where you get that from? I wish I could speak another language. I'm working on Japanese right now, but no, I can't speak any languages right now. Yeah, love it. Always support it. Yeah, man. Well, hopefully you guys enjoy it. Like I said, the first video was from Nightmare Files. Nightmare Files. The second one was from Mr. Nightmare. And then the third one is from Mr. Ballin. So make sure you guys go stop by and show some love to them. Thank you guys so much for supporting the cause, supporting the stream. Really, really appreciate you guys. I can't say thank you enough. I'll probably go keep saying thank you because I didn't think I would, I didn't think we would like grow so fast over like the last 2-3 months. So I'm surprised to see how the rest of the month or the rest of the year plays out. But yeah, if you guys have any recommendations, please let me know down in the comment section. And I'll get back to you on those, and I'll check out the channel. 9 times out of 10, if I don't like the channel, I'll probably want to react to it, and I probably will tell you I'm not going to, because either 1, I don't like the content, or 2, they don't want me reacting to their content. Just like Horror Short Party, I had to take that down because he didn't want me using his stuff. So it is what it is. Puppet Combo, Dead by Daylight Burn. Oh yeah, I love Dead by Daylight. So if you guys want to see that, or some what you call it, Little Nightmare. I always want to play Little Nightmare. So if you guys want to see some games or something like that, then please. Puppet Combo games. Oh man, Puppet Combo games are scary. Yeah, I lived there for 2 years, but I never did learn German. Oh yeah, Zil, I'll be starting my voice acting school sometime this month, bro. Oh snap, look at you, Ubi. Let me know how it goes, man. I hope it works out for you, and I hope it's like everything that you imagine. Daily dose of creeps. Oh snap, my next video comes out next week. Would also love to see more gaming videos. Oh snap, bro. Make sure you guys head over and go watch Daily Dose of Creeps. That's crazy. That's nice. He came and freaking showed some love, man. It makes me feel good. He has some really good content, man. Make sure you guys head over and show some love, show some support. Wait, you only be on YouTube for only... Nah, I've been on YouTube, man. I've been grinding YouTube for 3 years. 3 whole years. And my channel just started to get like, I wouldn't say popular, but kind of like noticed in the like the past 2 or 3 months, because I was doing gaming videos for 2 or 3 years, and I was just like, you know what, it's not working out, so I'm going to try something new. And then more people started coming in, so eventually I probably will just make another gaming channel, or I'm just going to have a gaming and reaction channel. We could probably come up with some schedule where I do gaming videos or gaming live streams, you get what I'm saying, and then we can just go from there. So I mean, the sky's the limit, you know what I'm saying. I'm going to switch it up, do some stuff here and there, see what works, see what doesn't work. And yeah, but be on the lookout for a gaming video, possibly tomorrow, just to see how it goes, how it turns out, if you guys like that or not. Don't worry, I'll definitely send you early access to my first anime I'll be in. Oh snap, I see you. Since 2012, it's not over a year. Yeah. But yeah, man, if you guys have any questions or any recommendations, whether it's videos or gaming, let me know. I'm going to be sitting here for like another, what time is it? Probably be sitting here for like another 2 or 3 minutes or so. Where's my super suit? Hey, that super suit is gone. You probably can watch some. I'll probably just watch some old throwback highlights of mine. Since we're just sitting here, I'll probably just go back and watch an old video of mine. Let's see what we got here. Old gaming. Let's go old playlist. Oh damn! Alright, hold on. Let me see this one. Damn, that's crazy how far I can. But my videos was ate up back then. It was so bad. You guys don't understand how bad my videos were back then. Like the camera was bad. Like everything was just like really, really bad. Hold on, let me see if I can find anything. And some games I didn't even finish because it was so scary. Alright, let's see. Stay close. What's a good one? Aria. Oh yeah, bro. Oh, Oh, wait. Is this the one? This is back in the old days.
The phone out. There you go.
I had hair. Look, look.
Out.
Oh my goodness. Hold on, wait.
I'm getting the chills. I hope you ain't talking about me and my friend.
I scared so easily. Yo, look at my hair back then, bruh. Oh, damn. I felt that I didn't finish a lot of game because they were too scared.
Oh my god. Oh my god, yo, just leave.
But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. So I mean, this live stream, I'm just going back and showing people that wanted to see it. You said my wife was dying with laughter at your reaction to my first episode. She showed us all her friends. Keep up the fantastic work, sir. Yo, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for letting me react to your videos, man. So we're gonna be looking out for that next one next week, man. You're really, really good channel, man. You need way more subscribers. So I appreciate you and your wife, man.
I
appreciate it.
I told you. You ain't tell me shit.
Looking like Wiz Khalifa. Dang, black and yellow. Yo, this is bad. Layers of Fear was pretty bad too. Yeah, these are times when I got caught lacking playing horror games. I'll tell you, I used to be a horror game channel. I used to play scary games. I used to be like legit scared, dude. Like people be think I'm playing around. Like I'll legit be scared. I cut out so much. I cut out so much footage when I'm playing games because I have to take breaks. I legit like take breaks between these. But I gotta go take a shower and go to school. All right, Zoms, thank you for stopping by. But yeah, I used to take breaks because I was so scared. Like I don't know. I just feels like it's actually happening or something. But
excuse me.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
That woman. I've seen her before.
Why you built like that?
Is that you again, Rama? This is none of your business.
Oh!
Yo, Zen, you should start up a series looking at your past videos. Oh, react to my past?
That's the 6'1", smoother than butter. Guapo.
Chocolate Papi.
Chocolate. And if your girlfriend's watching this, tell her the 6-foot Twix Butterfinger said, "Quítatelo la camisa para que yo mito chichis."
Oh my goodness.
You need to have instructions on how to. Oh my god. Oh. Ah. Oh hell no.
My flashlight blew out.
Yo, my cell phone battery just died.
Some YouTuber do. You should give it. I'll probably try it out. But yeah, that's just like a small little sample to show you guys. Cause a lot of people don't know I used to play video games on this channel. This is like a super old one. I had newer ones. I played like RPG games. I played Aria and Mad Father. I played like a whole bunch of different stuff. Misao. But yeah, man, that's gonna do it. But yeah, I appreciate you guys stopping by. I'm gonna do like a little poll thing, but if not, I'm probably just gonna post it. If nobody gives me any answers, I'm just gonna start posting gaming content again and reaction videos. So it's either one or two, probably every other day. Maybe reaction gaming, or reaction gaming. I don't know. I'm weird. We'll have to see. But yeah, man. But again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. And if no one told you today, I love you. And if you guys are new to the channel, my name is Reprisal Zims, and welcome to the Crow's Nest. Good, you picked it up. Yeah. Yeah. Bye. Peace out, Texas. Peace out. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate you. Daily dose of creep stopping by. It's crazy. Love you too. Appreciate you, Freezer. Have a great day. You as well. Or a night. Actually, it's night for me. But you have a great day. Got enough pillows in that couch. Hey, man. That's my mom. My mom, she over decorates. Hey, my pillow. See you next stream. All right, Freezer. See ya. See ya. I think I'm like level 12 in Dead by Daylight. Develop other animal sounds. I don't think I have any other animal sounds. I don't even know how I developed that animal sound, to be honest with you. I think it just happened in elementary. I was doing something, and then one day I did it, and I don't know why I did it or how I did it, but it just stuck with me. So that's why I named my channel that. I couldn't think of anything besides that. You can come to Bikini Bottom anytime. Oh, thank you, Squidward. I appreciate you. Squidward himself invited me down to Bikini Bottom. I'll take it. Just don't play the clarinet? I'm good on the clarinet. Just don't play no clarinets or anything like that. But alright, that's it then. No one else? Any questions? No? Alright. Well. Sayonara.